is the July 16th, 2012 meeting of the Lake Forest City Council Finance Committee. Could we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Cowhey.
Here.
Pandaleon.
Here.
Alderman Novit.
Here.
Alderman Waldeck. Here. Alderman Moore.
Here.
Alderman Schoenheider.
Here.
Alderman Tack.
Here.
Alderman Palmer. Alderman Adelman.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Elizabeth. First item on, or, well, after the roll call, second item on the agenda is consideration of minutes from the Finance Committee meeting held on May 21st, 2012. Are there any corrections, amendments from any members of the City Council? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, minutes are approved. The next item on the agenda is a request to approve best qualified proposal for website services redesign of the city website, presented by Susan Banks, the communications manager for the city.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the Finance Committee. I'd like to highlight this quote: "The single biggest problem with communication is the illusion that it has taken place," because the city is always working on improving communications with residents. In the last 20 years, electronic media has come to dominate this arena, yet our website, which originally went online as early as 1997, or possibly earlier, but we can't document it, has only been updated once, and that was in 2008. During this time, we've used a lot of Band-Aid techniques to improve the functionality, such as the GovQA system, clerk base, but the fact remains that we currently operate on an internet platform that is no longer even supported by Microsoft. So anyway, the top 5 reasons we know of that we would like to redesign the website is, first of all, the information is not easy to find, not even for the staff. Information is inconsistent and in multiple locations. The outdated platform that I mentioned before. We need a simplified look. I think at this point we currently have like 4,000 pages on the website, and so there's lots of reasons for duplication. Reducing the number of clicks. What we've learned is that a fully functioning and well-functioning website allows you to get to certain places with 3 clicks or less, and we know that sometimes we can spend dozens of clicks looking for what we're looking for. We would like to use the latest trends and techniques, including mobile applications for phones and iPads. We would like to better be able to communicate using e-newsletters, e-announcements, and emergency notifications. We'd like to offer bill payment services to residents and offer an events calendar, so at least the city's events can be located in one central place on the website. And we would like to incorporate staff contact information for a few good reasons that we think we need to update. The timing, we understand, is about 6 months from the launching of, or from approval to the launching of the website. So if the council should choose to approve our request for funding, we're looking at going live in January. Just to give you a little bit of background on how the website works with the city, on a daily basis and sometimes several times a day, the web authors from each department update and add new information. With the assistance of ClientFirst, we developed a request for proposal that was issued on February 29th. We received 11 responses and narrowed that down to the top 3 based on price, design, and identified requirements. After full on-site demonstrations were provided by each vendor, we selected American Eagle. During the process, most interestingly, we were made aware that one of the principals of the company, Rich DeMel, is a Lake Forest resident, and we were really surprised that he kept it quiet during that whole time until the end. However, along with meeting all of our requirements, we were impressed with American Eagle's creative capabilities, their fun, can-do attitude, and the samples of their municipal work. This evening, we are requesting that the City Council approve an expense of $70,860 for website redesign, training, transitioning, and support. You have already reported or approved $50,000 for the web in fiscal year 13 capital, and there is $45,000 set aside in fiscal year 14 capital budget to cover the expense. If approved, each year thereafter requires a $7,824 maintenance fee. Tom Jacobson is here from ClientFirst, our consultant, and Rich DeMille and Joanne Morrissey are here from American Eagle. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions?
Yeah. Is there like a quantifiable payback in the investment that we'll be making in a new web design? I mean, I know we're not a commercial operation, but so we're spending money, we're making an investment in a new website. Why? Is there a payback? I mean, is there a cost-benefit analysis?
We haven't done a cost-benefit analysis, but I'd say that, communications with residents is the main reason we need to do it. I think all of the staff receives multiple phone calls and emails from people who cannot find information that they're looking for on our website. And I think if we have a simplified website where it is easier to navigate around, that will help that tremendously. I think, so that's not really a cost-benefit analysis, but I think that staff can definitely attest to the fact that communications with residents would be greatly improved.
Okay, so I understand operating systems come and go, and you say this platform no longer is supported by Microsoft. What can we expect insofar as obsolescence of this new website that you envision coming online in 2013? In other words, over how many years would we amortize this new investment in a new website? Once every 5 years, we're going to redesign the site? And I know I see a lot of commercial vendors redesigning their websites because some are pretty slow and not so hot, and some of the newer, better ones are really slick. So how often would we be redoing our website?
I can't answer that.
Maybe our consultant can.
Yeah, I think that, the look we're looking for is something that's simplified. I don't know. You want to take that one, Tom?
Yeah, let me first say something about the cost-benefit analysis. The city currently pays ClientFirst somewhere around $15,000 a year because the software is so obsolete, just to continue to maintain it. So we expect that dollar amount to go down to zero with the new website.
Oh, well, that's a good payback.
Yeah. So on the second question, one of the things we're going to do is have American Eagle host the website and become responsible for continued updates as we move through the process, so that the website should not become obsolete, and we shouldn't run into this problem again, as long as the city remains happy with American Eagle.
Thank you.
Sure.
Susan, just a follow-up to Mike's comment. So the idea is, you mentioned bill pay. So can residents then, instead of us having a contract with a third-party service, right, to do vehicle stickers, pet license, beach stickers, we can do that on our own on the website?
Some of these things will be available with the content management system that will be provided by American Eagle. Some of the products we use now are cheaper to continue using, but whatever we end up using, there will be it will be all very streamlined. So as I said, we'll kind of be sticking with that 3-click. So that's part of the analysis that we're going
We
through.
could do water bills,
I believe so.
parking tickets. My wife would love parking tickets.
I believe we were looking at everything we could possibly do, purchasing tickets for things with the Parks and Rec. We explored everything. No stone went unturned, and that's kind of the beauty of having somebody from every department serve as a web author, so that every question, every desire got vetted through this whole process.
I mean, Susan, for whatever it's worth, I mean, I spend more than enough time trying to get on the website. I can't find anything, and it makes me crazy. So I'm a big proponent of what you're doing, and I think it's long overdue. And just to hear that we will save some money is terrific. But I think as a resident and as a member of the council, it makes me nuts to try to get on our website and find anything. So I think it's great. The faster we can do it, the better.
Can I ask our American Eagle representative, since he's both the principal as well as a taxpayer and resident of Lake Forest, can you address Alderman Adelman's question? And if you're at a cocktail party, what would you say to local residents about why we're making this investment?
Sure, I would be more than happy to. I'm as passionate about
Could you introduce
our
yourself,
website.
please?
Sure, again, Rich Dumel, Lake Forest resident for about 30 years. I'm as passionate about the website as you are. Just pure extraction of data, events that are being offered by the community. What are the missed opportunities? So although we don't have tangible return on investment immediately, but what are the missed opportunities on residents not knowing what our city's offering? So that's the whole intent. Great community, a lot of offering, unfortunately of no fault of anyone's, lost within our existing website. So American Eagle has been at this for about 30 years. We do other communities like Village of Winnetka, Wilmette, Glencoe, Park Ridge. So we have a proven history on a deliverable. Not only that, it has to be easy to use for our residents. So that's what we focus on. And your team did a really nice job at outlining the city's requirements and the outcome. So again, I hope I answered your question.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
And agreed with that. Our website right now, when I try to use it, I get so frustrated I don't want to go back to it.
Right.
I know websites from other communities they're a little more flexible and user-friendly. They encourage you to come back because you could easily answer a question. And I think we've alienated a lot of people just on usage, where hopefully another approach will kind of soften it up and make it more receptive and more successful. So, yeah, let's kind of step
Exactly.
into the year 2000 or 2012, and it's long overdue.
Yeah, let's come forward all the way if we can.
Thank you.
Looking forward to it.
Any other questions or comments? I would entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is, let's see, wait a minute. Yeah, I'm sorry, I skipped ahead. Is approval of public safety information technology support and project management services to be provided by ClientFirst. This is our day for data systems. ClientFirst Consulting Group in the amount of $73,600. Elizabeth Holub, our finance director, will present.
Good evening. This is a recommendation, again, for $73,600 with ClientFirst Consulting Group to provide information technology support related to public safety departments of police and fire. It's made up of two components. The first is ongoing technical support for police and fire. It's a continuation of a pilot project that was begun in March to see how successful that would be. It has proven effective in resolving day-to-day issues in the public safety building related to IT, and is recommended for continuation through December in an estimated amount of $41,600. The second component of that is a planned upgrade of the New World System software, which is used by the police and fire departments. We are planning to upgrade that software in the coming months. Due to the technical nature of the upgrade, it is recommended that we leverage specific knowledge and experience at ClientFirst for project management services to assist the city through the upgrade, which should be completed by December, and that recommended amount is $32,000. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Are the police and fire department pretty happy with what they have going on there since March?
I will defer to Mr.
I
Cowhey.
think, well, I don't want to speak for Acting Chief Held. I'm sure he can come forward, but yes, is a simple answer to the question. Although, because the fact that we are a beta site on our system, there have been some bugs, if you will, that they've been working on, and quite candidly, they've probably spent more time than they wanted to when they initially went into being a beta site on fixing and patching the system. Part of the reason that we really feel a need to bring on Client First, though, is that these policemen and firemen are not trained to do this. And so while they're working hard to patch the system and keep it working, and recognizing that they have certain knowledge base that they have to be involved in the system to a certain extent, they're not as efficient in correcting problems and addressing the problems as certainly a Client First or someone who's more versed in the language in dealing with New World, not just in Lake Forest, but in other communities across the country. So I don't know if that was a good answer. When you talk to them and you say, how do you like it? You know, they get real excited when they talk about the capabilities of what the system can do when it's working well, but they obviously get frustrated when the system's not working as effectively as we would like.
Do we get a little bit of a discount because we're a beta site?
That is something we're going to be negotiating, because originally when we signed up, we were going to be what was called version 9. And they said, well, how about if we move you to the beta site, which was supposed to be better, and we won't charge you for anything? Well, we're all migrating to version 10. And I think in conversations with the city attorney, that's a negotiation we're going to have with them about considering what we have done during this beta site process, that we want to see what considerations New World is willing to give the city of Lake Forest as we migrate to version 10.
Great.
Other questions? Okay, I would entertain a motion.
Chief, was I right in my answer? They got guns, so I want to make sure I'm right.
Entertain a motion to approve.
Move to recommend motion for approval of the IT support and project management service contract.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. The next item on our agenda is other business. There's no action required. I thought, though, that Elizabeth might want to take any questions that any of the council or the finance committee members might have with respect to the June flash report or the analysis that we were provided on the early retirement option that's been underway for some time and will continue.
And I might just add a little context from the standpoint of this flash report, keep in mind, was developed by Kathy Reinerson and David Grumhouse as a tool for the city council. And it should be a very fluid document. If it is not giving you the information that you need and you want, then we should change it up so that it accomplishes that. And I think with Elizabeth coming in, she's asked me some questions, and I said, well, that's a really good question. Maybe talk to George and see what George thinks, and I believe Alderman Pandaleon has some thoughts and ideas about some additional information. So we really are looking for your feedback, that if this is not something that's valuable to you, then let's change it up so it is valuable to you.
Just to add to that, the couple of observations that I've made are, number one, I have a hard time determining how we're doing against where we thought we would be. It does a nice job of telling us what happened, but it doesn't tell us what we thought was going to happen. In some cases it does, but mostly not. And then the other side of it is it's really doesn't do much at all on the expense side. It's almost all revenue driven. And I understand that was an artifact of the times in which it was developed, when all of a sudden revenue sort of stopped, and there was a need to really focus 100% on that. But at this point we're back to a steady state sort of operation, and I'd like to know how we're doing on both the revenue and the expense side. So those are, and Elizabeth and I have been talking about that, but any other observations, points of confusion, please feel free to send me a note or send Elizabeth a note, and we will be certainly making some modifications to this over the next couple of months. So.
Just point of confusion, and I'm not saying this to be humorous, but one thing I've noticed in about the last year and a half is historically on the document in the flash report, there's always a section where the state of Illinois is late by 3 months. And yeah, I mean, it's funny to a degree, but from a budgeting standpoint, it's a constant. At this point, do we plan for that? I mean, as far as our payments, what our expectations are, or is there any sign from the state that they're actually attempting to catch up, or is this just a lost 3 months?
They do actually range between 3 and 5 months. I don't know.
we're at the good
I haven't
end
looked
right
at past flash reports, but I think it's been a barometer to see whether or not there's been improvement or fallback on the schedule. So 3 months has actually been positive in the last 6 to 8 months.
It's the best it's been since I've been
So
watching.
it's actually an improvement,
Yes.
as you're saying. Yeah, I'm just.
But don't
lost-
get your hopes up that it's going to get any better.
No,
Right.
yeah, it almost sets you up for the kill.
Yeah.
But from a budgeting standpoint, have we pretty much just written off $500,000 in state revenues, hoping they'll catch up at some point? Yeah, again, it's just observation from the last couple of years.
There are contingencies that we've built into this year's budget and are expect to continue. And Elizabeth, maybe you can touch on that just at a very high level.
I'll jump in because she wasn't around when we did the budget.
Oh.
We actually underestimated the receipts that we were going to take in this year from the state of Illinois in a global sense, from the standpoint of a 12-month period of time. And we don't want to yet write them off as uncollectibles because they're going to come in. They're just coming in at a slower pace. And so really, if we didn't have the reserves that we did, it would have a much greater impact on our cash flow situation than it does. It's a nuisance, quite frankly, more so than it is from a real operating concern from our standpoint. But long term, it is something we're being very cautious about in all of our projections of state revenues.
Just to add a little color, in my business, we have the state of Illinois as a tenant in a number of our shopping centers, usually the Secretary of State. I can tell you, getting your money in 3 months from the state is a lot better than the private sector is doing by, maybe a factor of 2 or 3 times. I mean, we're typically 6 to 9 months out with the state paying us. So these are the games companies and states play when they are running out of cash. It's that simple. And I say this every chance I have an opportunity because I don't believe that the people of the state of Illinois have any idea what's really going on and the games that are being played at the state level to avoid confronting the reality of our situation. And raising taxes by whatever they did a year and a half ago is a drop in the ocean. And they've already given it all away to companies to keep them in the state anyway. So, sorry for my soapbox, but it's just a point of information with me.
And we liked it.
And then on the early retirement incentive, any questions on that?
I would just add that that is more defined today than it was when back in February when we first did it. But as Elizabeth points out, that is still evolving right now because we have had some more recent people leave, and it takes IMRF some time to do their final calculations. We think these are pretty close, but they can move over the next couple months when we get final numbers from IMRF. The other thing we will be coming back to you probably before the end of 2012 is talking about what the financial benefits might be if we paid this off early, because IMRF obviously amortizes the cost, and if we are able to pay it off early out of reserves that we have, we might see another $1 million to $2 million of savings in the grand scheme of things that you saw there on those sheets. So it's something that we just wanted to put out there. I think a good news standpoint is we told you what we thought it was going to be. We're awful darn close to what we thought it could be in terms of the significant savings to the residents, and we might even have some more savings there as we look at what the timing is in paying that off.
Yeah, the interest rate that we are being amortized at is relatively high compared to what we can borrow at independently.
Right.
So, any other questions or comments about that? The last thing, I'm going to add a quick point of information to the agenda, and I don't know, I think this is probably appropriate to bring up now, but the it appears that our August
Sixth.
6th meeting at least may not take place, and that we have one logistical item in terms of timing of some bids and so forth that Mike Thomas raised with respect to that meeting not taking place. And so we wanted to suggest an alternative strategy for making sure that these acquisition or procurement processes take place on a timely basis. So Mike, could you give us a 1-minute overview of the situation and the proposed solution?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Honorable Mayor, members of the Finance Committee. We have our capital equipment bid opening scheduled for Thursday, the 26th of July. If we can come to the City Council for approval at your September 4th meeting, it simply delays those purchases by a month. Good number of the items in the list this year are snow-related, and we would like to seek council approval this evening to allow us to bring our bids to both the Finance and the Public Works Committee chairmen. If they so approve the bids in early August, we will subsequently come to you on the consent agenda on September 4th for final approval. But it would allow us to place the orders and save 30 days, which logistically in the world of snow and equipment helps a lot. That is
Doesn't feel like we should be worrying too much about snow right now.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking about it. I'm getting past the drought, yes. So that is our request.
So are there any thoughts, comments, objections to this approach? Okay, well then I think we'll take it then from the City Council's reaction that this is an acceptable way to proceed. And Vic, is there anything official that we need to do with respect to this?
It's not on your agenda for action, so there's nothing that you can do, but it would be expected that when it comes to you for approval, that presumably you'll approve.
We'll ratify it.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the opportunity for the public to address the Finance Committee. Any member of the public that would like to address the Finance Committee, understanding that the City Council meeting will start in about 10 minutes and there'll be an opportunity to address the official City Council meeting during that time. There being none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, the meeting's adjourned. Thank you. We'll be back in 10 minutes with the City Council.